Hello, this is Sajja, Global Head of Engineering and Service Delivery at Cloud4C. Today, I'm excited to take you through the journey of how we use MariaDB in our organization, and hope you'll find this session useful for your own application of MariaDB within your applications and your business requirements that you might have. So thank you for joining this session. I'll take you through a very brief overview of our company. As I mentioned, Cloud4C is born in the cloud organization. We specialize in cloud solutions, and that's all we do is cloud applications, and we provide our services to our customers at the application layer, giving SLAs at the application layer instead of the individual infrastructure or platform as a service level that is commonly offered everywhere. We're basically an end-to-end managed services company. We manage over 40,000 virtual machines, 2,000 terabytes of HANA Enterprise Cloud. We specialize in many database areas. MariaDB is our area of specialization. Oracle, other commonly used platforms like CosmoDB, Postgre, all these platforms are fully supported by our database services program. We have over 2,000 experts that work exclusively in the cloud environment. 600 plus engineers are certified in Azure technologies, and we bring to the market a wide variety of skill sets with an exclusive team that we have in multiple locations. Our service offerings are quite well differentiated because we're a cloud-native company. All of our managed services are offered with cloud in mind, hyperscalers in mind. And we are a unique player in this pretty crowded market where you run into a lot of traditional SIs and IT service providers. You also have some smaller entities that cater to very niche areas. We kind of fit in the middle. It's a combination of what a traditional SI would offer and what a small MSP would offer to you in a niche area. So basically, our services are fine-tuned to provide you very custom services for your business needs, while focusing on the intricacies of the technology so that you can focus on your business needs. We have over 750 public cloud experts in Azure as well as AWS combined. As I mentioned earlier, over 2,000 cloud experts specializing in hyperscalers, very well versed with the standard industry processes and methodologies like ITIL, COBIT. We're a very security-focused organization as we handle a large amount of data. And I'll walk you through some of those specializations that we have. We are very focused on industry and country-level compliance requirements that customers need. And all of our solutions, whether it is a database solution or a platform as a service for your applications, it's all driven through our compliance program. And if there is something that you don't find here, we probably have it. We just, and if you don't have one, we'll get that. Basically, we embarked on the journey of selecting a database platform for our internal purposes initially. So we chose MariaDB, and I'll walk you through why we have selected MariaDB as our database platform of choice. We looked at some of the key benefits MariaDB brings to us. First of all, open source is very important for us, not purely from a licensing standpoint, but sheer ability of thousands of engineers being able to continuously innovate and keep the product up to date and come up with new solutions that our customers traditionally need, and our own very complex system that we have built for providing the managed services that we deliver using our platform. We're a platform-based managed services provider, so platform is everything for us, and we heavily rely on our CRM platform and other closely integrated platforms that we have in-house. So open source was very important so that we have the ability to change the system to our needs. JSON APIs are very key because our core platform, we have a self-healing operations platform that needs to be integrated with a variety of different platforms to bring services to our customers. And these APIs are a very key part of what we need to do. Parallel data replication is very important from a scaling standpoint as well as availability requirements that we have. And the ability to store in multiple storage engines like InnoDB, MyDocs, Spider, whatever you may have, is very important. We have a very big data analytics practice, and some of the column store features that are offered by MariaDB and the analytics solutions that are easily integrated with the help of MariaDB technologies have also been a very key player in our selection of the product. And the sheer fact that MariaDB can be easily deployed in a cloud platform and managed through a standard DevOps pipeline has been a very key deciding factor for us in selecting the database for our platform. Let me walk you through a little bit of our implementation of our CRM platform, which is totally built on the MariaDB database platform. So our CRM is about a terabyte and constantly growing. And if you take all the archiving and all the historical data and all that we do offline, which is also in MariaDB, it's quite large. So to handle such large database as well as the concurrent transactions that we get every day with our platform and handling our customers over 2,500 plus that have direct access to this platform, the database had to be built in a very scalable way. So we've created a MariaDB cluster, which is the heart of our processing engine. And as I mentioned, we do need historical data. So while the online transactions that take place need to be instantaneous in terms of how the service levels are experienced by our customers, we also need to have historical data for reporting and analytics perspective. And also when we talk about self-healing operations, these historical events are a key deciding factor in what automation can take place to handle any problems that we see in our day-to-day operations as we offer the infrastructure as services or platform as services. And in this regard, we have a 3-node cluster on the main transaction processing side, and we have a 2-node cluster on the archival side of the house. We've also set up a disaster recovery environment where there's a 2-node cluster that is constantly in sync with the primary cluster. We cater to about 2,500 plus customers with 1 million transactions each day going in and out and more. And basically, these transactions are not lightweight transactions because of any traditional CRM platform. There is all kinds of data coming in and going out, whether it is objects, such as documents that are uploaded, screenshots, things of that nature, emails, chat conversations, all kinds of structured and unstructured data flowing through the system. And the system itself has several portals on top of it with various web technologies built on it. And these platforms, again, are accessed through the internet as a web interface, so the response time has to be very quick. And MariaDB, we have used some interesting features that are available in MariaDB to handle such transactions that come through the internet. In addition to that, the platform is also integrated to our monitoring systems as well as third-party tools that we use internally. And as you can imagine, with the monitoring system, there cannot be any lag in terms of when an alert is triggered from one of the systems and the time it takes to reach the CRM platform and ultimately customer being informed. All this needs to happen within a matter of seconds and not minutes. And with the volume of this traffic that comes through, there is a very complex engine built that understands this data, that understands these alerts that are coming in, the actions that need to be taken automatically or the information that needs to flow. So all this is seamlessly integrated and works very smoothly through the CRM platform thanks to the MariaDB scalability and performance benefits that the database comes out of the box with. We also offer to our customers database recovery services, DR services, and many other offerings that are traditionally required, so that you have a point from where you can get your data back in case if there is a primary disaster at the primary site. So in those solutions as well, we've got some very good automation built in where the customers don't have to really reinvent the wheel in setting up their DR environment. So the DR as a service for MariaDB is extensively used by our customers with our service offering as well. So to kind of point to you some of the features that we've used and we thoroughly enjoy is one of the key features that we use in MariaDB is the in-memory tables feature. where the alerts that are coming in, as I mentioned, in large volumes, if we were to use a traditional structured tables that are stored on a disk, it would have a lag. So we started using memory tables in there, and these complex logic engines work on top of these memory tables. They look for any similar alerts, any previously existing tickets that we may have to look into, and bring all that information together, collate it automatically, come up with some intelligence, and provide necessary actions that an engineer needs to either take manually, or that can be auto-remediated using past history. So this is all tied into our knowledge management database, and the knowledge management database also works on a MariaDB. So the whole access of this information, the analytics part of it, the analysis that is done within our custom engines is all instantaneous, and the actions that need to be taken are also done at a very fast pace. So the SLAs that we commit to some of our customers is so low in terms of turnaround time that this kind of efficiency is very much required. There are some challenges in managing in-memory tables, obviously. And so the important aspect of it is to make sure that in-memory tables are sized right, and you're constantly monitoring these tables so that you're not running out of memory, or the row count goes so high that it becomes inefficient, and so on and so forth. But that part can be easily automated and provide very efficient transactions to our customers. The other key feature that we really like about MariaDB is the security aspect of it. So in this day and age, with all the compliance requirements that we have and the threats that are out there in the world, encryption is a very important aspect of any database that you choose. So encryption at rest is a key aspect of any database of your choice. MariaDB out of the box offers a variety of options on how you encrypt your data, whether it is at rest or in transit. If you're doing it at rest, we can use the native tablespace encryption that is available through some of the storage options that MariaDB gives you. And there are multiple storage options that you can choose. And also, when it is in transit, you can use SSL to have your connections encrypted end-to-end. And that is a very key feature that you must look for in any database. While most databases offer this feature, MariaDB is very efficient in handling this kind of transactions. Also, an added advantage with MariaDB is you have a database proxy that you could use. You can use MariaDB's option of MaxScale as a database firewall, so that you can look at the users that are coming in, whether it is at a user level that you want to restrict, or a query level, or harmful queries that could be executing, or data being taken out. There's a lot of customization that you can do using the built-in database proxies, so that you don't have to go invest in another product to try and achieve the same thing. So these are very, very important, because we're driven by compliances. We have to have these features in the database, so MariaDB was able to serve these needs. The other important aspect when you're serving such a large group of customers, and data segregation is a must, multi-tenancy is a must, and role-based access is a very key aspect of it. So out of the box, MariaDB role-based access control is very cool, and offers a lot of flexibility for our needs. So we were able to use the out-of-box role-based access control from MariaDB and make our DBA life a lot easier in managing the privileges that are needed to be given to the customers. When it comes to basically encrypting data, that is also quite easy if you're trying to use the MariaDB access management that is built in. Not only that, there is a lot of flexibility with the security plugins that are available from MariaDB, so that you can easily integrate it with your application or third-party tools that you might have, and meet your compliance standards. So this was a very key feature that we really like, and use it every day. The other aspect of it is, how do you prevent threats? There's threats all over the place, and with all the configuration settings that you might do, have a firewalls in between, and even web application firewalls, and so on and so forth, still the threats exist. So some native threat prevention is an absolute must. And the features that come out of the box with MariaDB from a defense perspective or threat detection perspective and stop it immediately at the source of it is a very important feature. The ability to handle denial of service attacks or overloading of an application, SQL Server injection attacks, things of that nature are very, very important when you're running a database in a publicly exposed internet. Now, the database may not be exposed directly, but you do have an application exposure, and that in itself opens up a whole world of threats out there that you have to handle. So this is a very important aspect of it that we've looked at when we were picking MariaDB, and our journey has been very, very good with all the features that have been available over the years. So as we look at these options that are going into the future, so we did an analysis and said, okay, we've been running this MariaDB on-prem. What other options are available? So there comes Azure database services for open source, variety of open source databases. Azure is pretty popular with MariaDB in terms of the implementation there. They're strongly encouraging migrations to Azure Platform using their native version of how they deployed MariaDB. And there are multiple options that we can go with. So if you look at this picture, we started with an on-prem version of MariaDB. Worked very well for us. As we grew in size and as well needs increased and there were better ways of doing this same implementation on Azure, we initially looked at using Azure Platform as an infrastructure. So that basically gets you out of the hardware maintenance mode, the data center management stuff, and virtualization that's basically handled for you. And you basically take you're basically managing operating system and that. That was pretty good. It's pretty efficient, helps you a lot. So then we started looking into it and said, why not use it as a service? So we looked at the Azure database options where they do offer MariaDB as a native offering. And look at the stack. Now you're able to go all the way up to the database layer, and now you don't have to worry about how the database works itself. You kind of focus your energies on your application and whatever you need to do from a business analytics perspective and so on. So we have migrated from our on-prem version to the Azure database platform as a service model, where the efficiencies are incredible. I don't have to worry about disaster recovery. I don't have to worry about scalability. All those are baked in, and I just consume the database services that come out of the Azure database. So when we are trying to do this, obviously you have to explain to your management why you're trying to go to Azure when your system is working perfectly fine on-prem. Well, if you look at it as from a different, you have to look at it from various angles. Basically, look at the database management support. Now I can have the same database administrators who are typically handling a lot of backup-related issues or performance tuning or scaling issues and things of that nature have been freed up to more focus on the business needs and focus on the product that we have internally. And ease of management when it comes to handling the same MariaDB on Azure, it is just incredible. Time to market and cost effectiveness of deploying it on Azure instead of running it on-prem was a very key factor for us to go with this direction. Third-party integrations come built in with Azure. It's easy for us to work with our vendors as well, since they also use a similar platform on Azure. Monitoring and uptime has not been a worry for us, since that is all baked into the service levels with Azure. Data security and compliance is also built into the Azure platform as well. So a lot of things that you would typically worry about as a database administrator or an application developer on MariaDB have really been built into the platform that you don't have to worry about. It bringing you a lot of efficiencies on the business side of the house. So the other aspects that we were looking at it is, well, are there any native tools available, elasticity options, any migration support, because when you're trying to take it from an on-prem situation to Azure, that in itself could take some time. So any help in that area, any manual work that can be automated. Integration with third-party tools is a key aspect for everybody. And most importantly, data security. All these have been thought through and addressed by Azure database services. And it comes right out of the box, and we're able to take advantage of these options that are readily available. So when we deployed it on Azure, it was a very simple transition for us. All we had to do was replace our bottom layer from our traditional infrastructure and replace it with the Azure stack. And basically, all the monitoring, data high availability, the platform itself, the data security, disaster recovery, everything comes built in for us. And we didn't have to change a whole lot of code or anything like that. And the migration was very, very quick and smooth. And basically, we even used the traditional tools that come with Azure migration services to make this transition even smoother. Our user community never even felt the migration was actually taking place because it was done so transparent to them. They couldn't even see where the platform was coming from, basically because they're just using the web URL and the URL remains the same. Now, how do you work from your workload from a on-prem situation to Azure? Well, there are a couple of options. So initially, when we were doing the testing and checking and seeing if the platform would work, we did an offline version of it because our development QA systems can be taken offline during off-business hours. So we did an offline proof of concept migration to see if the platform would scale and provide the services that we were providing from an on-prem situation. That worked very well, and I would recommend that from a proof of concept perspective. But when it comes to migrating your production workloads, instead of taking a huge downtime, we recommend going with the Azure Database Migration Service, which can do an online migration of it. So you keep your database from on-prem in sync with your Azure database for a while, and on the cutover date, you take a small or almost near zero downtime to make the switch happen, and the users won't know the difference. Now, as you get through this process and want to get into an online migration model, there are a few things that you have to do. You have to prepare your source instances for migration. You have to check your workload dependencies, any replication details that you need to worry about, resource requirements, what is the sizing, things of that nature. You have to create an appropriate size on Azure as well so that your performance stays intact. Any schema creation that you need to do with a dump for some of the more offline tables, or in other words, more static tables. And understanding how Azure DMS tool works to get your near zero downtime. Worry about your connectivity and security aspects of it, get your compliance audits done, and so on and so forth. And once you've accomplished these pre-activity tasks and you've set up all these environments appropriately, the post-deployment testing and release is the last thing that you should not forget and accomplish immediately after your cutover is done. So what is next for us from Cloud4C, and what are we trying to do with MariaDB? We already have DevOps as a service that we offer to our customers. And as part of this offering, we're also bringing MariaDB that is available through Azure Database Services as part of the DevOps pipeline. So in other words, we're basically making the whole journey of application development all the way, including any database related activities, as a seamless pipeline, which you can deploy, create, destroy, do whatever that is required in your daily operations, more in an automated way through native Azure DevOps tools, or a custom pipeline that you might already have that can be embedded into the Azure DevOps pipeline, and manage your MariaDB instances that way, so that you can further automate the database administration side of the house and cannot worry about databases at all, and really focus on the business requirements and the business logic that you have, and spend more time supporting the customers that you have to deal with, instead of sitting there in the back room trying to code or trying to debug a database problem, or trying to just migrate code, which is just a waste of time. And in this regard, Cloud4C brings to you a lot of offerings. I really welcome you to reach out to us if you're looking for any remote database administration services, migration services to Azure, any architectural related help that you might need. If you're purely looking from a reduction of cost standpoint, if you're interested in any improvement on your best practices that you need somebody to come in and look at it, any analysis assessments that you need, security hardening, whatever the case may be, we have a full stack of end-to-end managed services that we can provide you in this space. And we're really excited to talk to you about your business needs and what we may be able to help you with. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know we have a very short window in this conference. I hope you're enjoying the conference very well, as much as I am. And look forward to any questions that you may have. And with that, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it very much.